What's up, everyone? Today is October 19th, 2022. In today's video, we're going to discuss the sudden death of a musician who died on stage during a concert while he was performing this past week on October 15th. Haitian singing superstar Mica Ben, which is short for Michael Benjamin, collapsed on his way running backstage, and emergency services were unable to revive him. And there's been a lot of speculation about what actually caused this man's death. A lot of people believe that it could have something to do with a certain juice that Big Pharma is pumping into people. However, on this channel, I talk about how there's something else also going on with all of this. In my last video, I theorized that the mainstream media is making it very obvious that something is wrong with the pharmaceutical solution to the big event that has been occurring in the past couple years. And I don't know whether or not this played out exactly like it's reported, but there's definitely something else going on here. And in this video, we're going to discuss how the death of Mica Ben was a numeric riddle using dates on the calendar and the language of Gematria, or Gematria, which is the ancient practice of coding numbers into names, words, and phrases. The ciphers seen on your screen here are the simplest in the practice: English, ordinal, and reduction. And we'll take a look at how these are very prevalent in this man's death. Michael Benjamin died on October 15th, 4 days ago, in Paris, France. Now, when it comes to this CV19 event that's been taking the world over for the past couple years, I've been doing a lot of work on this channel explaining how it's connected to this Eclipse code. The virus is called coronavirus, and the corona is just the name of the atmosphere of the sun, which is only visible during an eclipse. When the VAXX was first approved, it was on the date of a total solar eclipse in 2020. And this is no coincidence. This is what they're doing on purpose. And this story here, which seems to be connected to the solution for the CV19, falls right in line. So let's get into this. Mica Ben was born on June 27th, which is the date that leaves 187 days on the calendar. His death occurred in the city of Paris, France. Notice how in the reverse alphabetic order, where the letter Z is assigned 1, Y is 2, X is 3, all the way to A is 26. The city of Paris, France, has gematria of 187. Now, the number 187 is known by a lot of fans of pop culture as the homicide code, ever since the early 90s, when 187 was used in a number of rap songs. In that same reverse cipher, the phrase total eclipse sums to 187. Now, the next time there will be a total eclipse of the sun occurs on April 20th of 2023 during what's called a hybrid eclipse, which is both a total and partial eclipse on the same day. These are pretty rare events. You'll notice this is the first one in almost a decade coming up next year. There won't be another one for over 8 more years. So this is a rare astrological event. And when you measure from the death of Mica Ben to the date of the 2023 hybrid eclipse, notice how he died 187 days before that eclipse. You may also notice how the date numerology of October 15th is virtually the exact same as April 20th, the date of that next eclipse. Now, the date of that eclipse, April 20th, is a very significant date in history. Adolf Hitler was born on April 20th of 1889, and I want to talk about the significance of 1889 later. But what's so interesting about his birthday falling on this date is that measuring from the birth of Hitler to the date of that eclipse, it will be exactly 134 years after the birth of Hitler. And using the standard alphabetic order, the phrase solar eclipse sums to 134. So Hitler's birthday of April 20th is the 110th day of the year. And it will also be the 110th day of the year next year when we have this special hybrid eclipse. The city of Paris, France, sums to 110 in the alphabetic order. And notice how the name Adolf Hitler sums to both 187 and 110 in our standard ordinal ciphers. The word death also with 110 gematria in prime numbers. Measuring from the birthday of singer Mica Ben to the date of his death, we find it was a 110 days exactly, dying 187 days before the eclipse that falls on Adolf Hitler's birthday, and Adolf Hitler sums to 110 and 187. In regards to Adolf Hitler being 134 years old exactly on the date of this solar eclipse, notice the gematria of Mica Ben. In the reverse order, Mica Ben sums to 134. He was a Haitian singer. Notice how Haitian singer sums to 134. And it's being said that he died of a heart attack, which sums to 134 with capital letters. Another big part of this event has to do with the arena that this show was held at, the Accor Arena in Paris, France. If you measure from the date that this arena opened to the date of his death, notice how there's a 134 in the number of days since it opened. In fact, the name Michael Benjamin matches Accor Arena, Accor Hotels, and Paris, France in Gematria. Accor Hotels, for the record, is essentially the company that has the naming rights to Accor Arena. So we also get a special 119. The singer was from the country of Haiti, which equals 47. And he died in the country of France. Notice how France also equals 47 in ordinal. 47, the reduction value of Accor Hotels and killing. And the date that he died had what we call standard numerology of 47. 47 also the reduction value of total eclipse. This date also had numerology of 31, and the name Mica Ben has English gematria of the 31st prime number, 127. Notice how musician also sums to 127. This musician was from Haiti, which gives us another 127. So I want to talk a little bit more about how this connects to the first ever solar eclipse that was predicted. This was done by a man named Thales of Miletus, an old Greek mathematician and astronomer. Now, the first ever eclipse to have been predicted by Thales was called the Eclipse of Thales. And notice how this eclipse passes over the country of France. Here's another look at this eclipse. Beginning in Central America, crossing the Atlantic Ocean. And by the end of it, you'll see the path of totality goes over southern France, just a little bit south of the city of Paris, which is where Mica Ben died. Now, this eclipse, the first ever predicted eclipse, which has its own name, Eclipse of Thales. Notice how this occurred in the year 585 BC. On the date of his death, Mica Ben was 15,085 days old. So here we have the digits 585, which connect to this big eclipse over France. Now, the number 585 is also connected to earthquakes. In the book of Revelation, the verse 612 mentions both a solar and lunar eclipse, where the sun becomes black and the moon becomes red. Well, just before that, it mentions a great earthquake. As mystically and historically, earthquakes and eclipses are heavily connected. Well, back in the year 2010, there was a significant earthquake in Haiti, where Mica Ben was from. And what was so interesting about this is that measuring from that earthquake to the date of his death, it was just shy of 666 weeks. So consider how this made news on the 16th. Well, the next day was a span of exactly 666 weeks after this major, devastating earthquake in Haiti back in 2010. The number 666 is one that's very significant to the eclipse code. Of course, the Earth's axial tilt is 66.6 degrees from the plane of the sun. In the other direction, it's 23.4 degrees. If you swap the digits in 2, 3, 4 and add them together, you get 666. The Earth swinging around the sun at 66,600 miles per hour. Sun-moon equals 666. The magic square of the sun sums to 666, whereas moon magic square equals 666. Of course, our space agency, which is tasked with studying the sun and the moon, NASA, has Gematria of 666. And this number connected to the moon and sun in a number of other ways, even so far as through the tarot. Now, another strong connection here has to do with the astrological ruler of the sign that he died under. Mica Ben died during the time of Libra, which is ruled by the planet Venus. And there's another sign that Venus rules on the zodiac, and that would be the sign of Taurus. Adolf Hitler was born on the first day of Taurus, or actually maybe the second day, but that is his birth sign. And when he died on April 30th, it was also under the sign of Taurus, which is again the other sign ruled by Venus. So now Mica Ben dies in Libra, which is ruled by Venus. And his death at 41 reminded me of the death of someone else at the age of 41. Recall how Kobe Bryant died in early 2020 at the age of 41. And Kobe Bryant, just like Mica Ben, had a wife named Vanessa. And think about how close the name Vanessa is to the planet Venus. The name Vanessa even sums to 81 and 18 in the language of Gematria, our main ciphers. These are the same values as Venus. Venus also 81 and 18. In fact, when Kobe Bryant died in 2020, I even made a post explaining how the death of Kobe was connected to the planet Venus, who he shares a lot of Gematria with. He was even 67 Venusian years old. Kobe equals 67. And notice how the date that Kobe Bryant died also had identical numerology to the date that Mica Ben died. 67, 31, 13, 47, and 11. All the same digits in the same numerologies. Now, the name Michael Benjamin also stood out because the name Benjamin in the ancient Hebrew language is son, like S-O-N, like father, son. And of course, the Son of God, Jesus, is believed to have died on the cross while darkness fell over the sky. This is a major part of the Gospels that was attributed in a 1961 film, which actually filmed the crucifixion under a real-life solar eclipse. So eclipses, death, Jesus, all coded throughout history. Furthermore, Benjamin's father was also a singer. His name was Lionel. And the name Lionel connects to the zodiac as well, because the sign on the zodiac that's represented by a lion is Leo. And consider how this is also significant to the history of France. The French Revolution involved a significant character named Napoleon, which translates literally to Lion of Naples. And again, this all connected to this eclipse of Thales that passed over France, and how the next hybrid eclipse falls on Hitler's birthday. All right, so the next part of this is going to talk about how the numbers of murder are coded into this event. Now, again, this happened at an arena named the Accor Arena. Notice how Accor sums to 79 with capital letters, and in ordinal, Accor Arena equals 79. These are the same values as the word murder. Murder summing to 79. Murder also equals 83. And notice how the name Michael Benjamin equals 803 in our Latin or Jewish cipher, as it was labeled on the old website. The Latin method I consider to be the most significant outside of the base 4. Notice how the word murder also equals 38 and 254 using prime numbers. While the Accor Arena, measuring from its opening date to the date of this concert, was 38 years and 254 days old. The number 38 significant also to death and killing. Death sums to 38, killing 38, a 38-year-old arena. But the word killing also has gematria of 115 in both the reverse alphabetic order and the Latin method. And consider how this connects to the date that Michael Benjamin died. October 15th, the date written 1015. And in numerology, with the 0 dropped, that sums to 115. He died in the Masonic country of France. France equals 115. So does Masonic. Another interesting alignment is that they're saying he died of cardiac arrest. Now, the phrase cardiac arrest has Latin gematria of 457, the 88th prime number. 88 is the gematria of his name, Michael Benjamin 88. And this singer was from the country of Haiti, which also equals 88. His death was on the 288th day of the year. His death was also on the date leaving 77 days on the calendar. And that did stand out because Adolf Hitler died 77 years before this all happened. I put more about how the gematria of killing ties into this, because I think it's even connected to Adolf Hitler's invasion of Paris, France, back in 1940. So again, check the post that's linked in the description below for more. But again, this death clearly synced up with an eclipse. A hybrid eclipse, again, rare events that only occur relatively, about once a decade on average. It's actually pretty consistent when you go back through history. Although sometimes it's even less than that. As here you see there was a 56-year gap between hybrid eclipses. Before I go, I want to mention this 1889 number and why I think this is another part of the whole eclipse riddle. The state of Montana was admitted to the Union in the year 1889. Notice how it was the 41st state. Mica Ben died dead at 41. Kobe Bryant dead at 41. But the number 1889 connects to what I consider to be the most significant eclipse number of all, which is 1331. And I'll go ahead and link this post down below in the description. But without question, the number 1331 is the number that points to the eclipse code. In regular English Gematria, which uses the current 26-letter alphabetic order, when you write out 1331, it sums to 1889. I bring up Montana because Montana historically sees more eclipses than any other state. Of course, it's one of the furthest north states, but it also takes up the most land up there. So it sees more eclipses than any other state. And did you know that in the year 1979, there was an eclipse that went over the state of Montana? And check out how this eclipse basically splits the state in half. Come on, Google. Come on, Google, let's go. So we'll see. Boom. Like, it goes right through Montana, almost perfectly, right? Well, isn't it interesting that 1979, the year of that eclipse, is the same year that Joe Montana was drafted into the NFL, 1979. This guy would go on to have a great career. He won 4 Super Bowls with the 49ers and then went on to play for the Chiefs. Well, remember, right after Kobe Bryant died, the 49ers played the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. It was dubbed the Montana Bowl. And that was all synced up with Joe Montana. Search my blog for a bunch of work on that. But I just wanted to show off how that eclipse code is so significant to so much in history. All right, guys, that'll do it for this video. Hope to go live with another super stream this weekend. So again, keep your eyes posted to the blog. And for those of you who wish to support the work, I now have memberships open on gematrinator.com. So I know a lot of you have been asking for that over the years, where you can donate, or if I have a Patreon or anything like that. Those links are down in the description below as well. So with that, thanks again. Peace, love, God bless, and we'll talk to you next time. See ya.